कल तक कैमरा ठीक दिखाई दे रहा था, आज क्या हो गया अचानक? आप तो कभी कुछ करते ही नहीं।
तो एक बार कुछ नहीं करना ना,
हाँ तो फिर जादू से थोड़ा ना हो गया है।
तो मेरी बात नहीं सुनने होगी। मुझे तो यहाँ कुछ नहीं करना ना,
बोल
सिर्फ
रहा
खड़े
नहीं
होकर बोलना है।
बोल।
मेरे को सीरियसली बताओ, मैं आप सीरियसली
अब आपकी आवाज आएगी।
हेलो हेलो
आवाज आ रही होगी डेलीगेट्स को।
हेलो, आ गया? आवाज आई? कर दूं माइक ऑफ? हाँ।
Madam Sonal, are you able to hear me?
हाँ जी सर। गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
ना इको हो रही है। अपना हेडफोन लगाओ। हेलो, मैडम सोनल एक बार बोलना जरा।
गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
हेलो,
हाँ जी सर।
थोड़ा सा मैं माइक अपना दूर रख के बोलो। पवन थोड़ा इको क्लियर करना। हाँ सोनल अब बोल एक बार जरा। सोनल,
सर इज इट डन?
यस मैडम ठीक है।
Okay.
मधु मैम ठीक है, आ जाओ। हैं? करवा दें, फिर भी एक बार कम करवा दें। इमेज आ रही है इसमें लाइव बैठ दिखाई दे रहा है क्या? तो
इस साइड दिखाऊंगा इंडियन वाले की तरफ साइड में देखो दिखा अभी ऐसे कैमरा क्या करेंगे और अच्छा
फोकस कर थोड़ा सा, थोड़ा सा करिए। हाँ थोड़ा सा करिए, ज्यादा ना करिए।
लाइट ऑन करने के ये तो वहाँ ले रख सकते ये आगे से वो तो पुलिस के फोटो दस्ते के सवाल यहाँ
Manju Jetka, ma'am. Ma'am, your mic is off. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Manju, ma'am. Now you are audible. Good
Okay,
morning, ma'am.
thank
Good
you.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, ma'am. What about you?
I'm good. Thanks. What is your name?
Ma'am, I'm Dr. Nidhi, Assistant Professor of English.
Nidhi. Yes, I remember. I still have your phone number saved.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What time do you begin?
Ma'am, we will begin at 9:50.
Okay,
We will begin our program at
Yeah.
9:50.
very good.
Yes, good morning all. We will begin our program within 5 to 10 minutes. Our principal sir and dignitaries are entering the hall. Please welcome all. कदम कदम पर नया इम्तिहान होता है, संघर्ष का रास्ता कहाँ आसान होता है। कदम कदम पर नया इम्तिहान होता है, संघर्ष का रास्ता कहाँ आसान होता है। जो चलता है इस कठिन रास्ते पर, उस संघर्षशील के कदमों में सारा जहान होता है, उस संघर्षशील के कदमों में सारा जहान होता है। A very good morning to all present in the conference. On behalf of IBPG College Panipat and in my own behalf too, I, Dr. Nidhi, Assistant Professor of English, wholeheartedly welcome you all to the inaugural session of this national level online conference on Indian writing in English. It's my proud privilege to announce the presence in our midst this morning of the chief guest of the inaugural session, Professor R.K. Mittal, Vice Chancellor, Chaudhry Bansilal University, Bhiwani, respected chief guest of the valedictory session, Professor Randeep Rana, Chairperson, Department of English, MD University, Rohtak, respected keynote speaker, Professor Manju Jaidka, Director of Humanities, SRM University, Sonipat, the chairperson of the technical session, Dr. Ashok Chaudhary, Principal, MN College, Shahabad, Markanda, Kurukshetra. Our eminent speaker for invited talk, Dr. Himanshu Parmar, Associate Professor and Chairperson of English Department, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. Shri Dharmveer Batra ji, President Governing Body. Shri L.N. Miglani ji, General Secretary Governing Body, IBPG College, Panipat. Dr. Ajay Kumar Garg, Honorable Principal of the College. Professor Ranjana Sharma, Vice Principal of the College. Dr. Muhammad Ishaq, Coordinator IQAC. Dr. Neelam, Convener of the Conference. Dr. Shashi Prabha, HOD Hindi Department. Dr. Rameshwar Das, HOD History Department, staff members, guests and scholars. We are honored to have all of you with us today in this conference. I once again welcome you all to this national level online conference on Indian writing in English. But before moving ahead, let us formally welcome our guests and dignitaries. May I request Dr. Ajay Kumar Garg, worthy principal of the college, Professor Ranjana Sharma, Vice Principal of the College, Dr. Muhammad Ishaq, Coordinator IQAC, Dr. Neelam, Convener of the Conference, Dr. Shashi Prabha, HOD Hindi Department, to present a sapling of Tulsi to Shri L.N. Miglani ji. I also request Dr. Madhu Sharma to join them. Thank you all. Like the opening scene of the play, the inaugural session of a conference serves quite a number of purposes. In the very beginning, it brings all concerned together, gives them a chance to know where they actually stand, and throws them a hint of the technical sessions to follow. It is at the same time a kind of prayer to the supreme powers for their blessings on the occasion, a kind of prayer for the success of what follows. But before we go into the depths of the situation, let us light the lamp first, for as we all know, light has always been the life of our life, the soul of our soul, a living symbol of excellence. Wrote Mr. Nehru once to young Indira, whatever we can do in the light of the sun, in the presence of all, is good. And for whatever we look for darkness, covering or hiding is bad. Let's keep the fact in mind and light the sacred lamp. I request all the dignitaries present on this stage to come forward and light the sacred lamp. पहले ही आ जाओ। Thank you all. Now, I request Dr. Neelam, convener of the conference, to deliver the opening remarks.
Virtually present Dr. R.K. Mittal, Vice Chancellor, Chaudhry Bansilal University, Bhiwani. Our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Manju Jaidka. Another resource person, Dr. Himanshu Parmar. Dignitaries sitting on the dais, Shri Alan Miglani ji, General Secretary, College Governing Body, Principal, Dr. Ajay Kumar Garg, Vice Principal, Mrs. Ranjana Sharma, Dr. Muhammad Ishaq, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Rameshwar Das, Bursar, online connected scholars from different parts of India, members of staff sitting in front of me, and my dear students. Good morning and a warm welcome to this national level online conference on Indian writing in English, organized by the Department of English. I gladly and proudly apprise all of you that our Department of English is the only department in the whole district Panipat which runs all the popular courses, all the popular programs of English, namely BA Honors English, MA English, Functional English as an optional subject besides English General or Major English. Under the able guidance of our principal sir, certificate course in French, certificate course in English communication and soft skills, workshops, guest lectures, and various other extracurricular activities are orchestrated by our department for the all-round development of our students to enhance their critical understanding, to enhance their critical thinking, understanding of multicultural fabric of India, contemporary modern issues related to Indian English literature, we are holding this conference on Indian writing in English. It is a unique form of literature which is growing rapidly in global market. If we look into the historical trajectory of Indian writing in English, we find earlier our Indian writers expressed their feelings, experiences in English devoid of other Indian language, following the British grammatical structure and vocabulary. Then our triumvirs, Mulk Raj Anand, R.K. Narayan, and Raja Rao. They experimented. They are the pillars of Indian English novel. I would like to quote the one of the quotation of Raja Rao, which he writes in his preface to Kanthapura. We can write as Indians. Someday, our method of expression will be as distinctive as of the Irish or the American. Presently, we have Indian English. We have adopted English. Now English is our language. In our day-to-day life, contracts, legal discussions, they are framed bilingually. And one of the languages is, most of the time, is English. Even at the public places, you will hear announcements at railway station, bus terminuses, airport. They are in English, as well as in other Indian or regional language. The translation of important literary works of Indian writers is remarkable. In addition to this, our Indian poets, dramatists, novelists, they have Indianized English by following traditional structure incorporated with vernacular idioms, regional expressions, They are highly original, but at the same time, the themes and the spirit is Indian. Their creative writings, they provide a snapshot of traditional Indian values, motifs, symbols, etc. They also deal with socio-political realities of India. I would like to add here that the contribution of female writers can't be ignored. They are moving forward in the field of literature with strong and sure strides, matching the pace of world literature. All of you have seen, I hope so, that all of you must have seen Three Idiots, which is a popular film based on Chetan Bhagat's novel 5 Point Someone. So, in a way, even the film industry, they are also adapting our Indian English novels. At the same time, our writers, they have won a couple of accolades in the global market. So, this remarkable global resonance, evolution, significance of Indian writing in English will be explored comprehensively during this conference. The linguistic, thematic, and stylistic aspects of various works of art will also be definitely discussed during this forum. Our experts will discuss on various aspects of Indian writing in English. They will definitely enhance your knowledge, expand your intellectual horizon. At the same time, various latest literary trends will also be discussed during this conference. So get ready for having new ideas, new words. I believe that this conference will not merely be a rendezvous of brilliant minds to celebrate the power of words. It will definitely motivate you, inspire you to carve out new ideas and avenues for your academic and literary pursuits. I hope all of you will definitely be benefited by this forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope this conference will provide you an opportunity to learn something new. Dr. Ajay Kumar Garg, Principal, IBPG College, Panipat, is known for his presence everywhere on the campus. He is a rare teacher, philosopher, and guide. He is only too well known for his glorious brain waves. As a man of ideas, he is always ready with something new and original. He virtually belongs to the world of practical wisdom. जिस दिन से चला हूं मेरी मंजिल पे नजर है, जिस दिन से चला हूं मेरी मंजिल पे नजर है, आंखों ने कभी मील का पत्थर नहीं देखा. With these words, I request him to say a few words on the occasion, inspiring all to realize the significance of this conference. Dr. Ajay Kumar Garg, Principal, IDPG College, Panipat.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Chief guest of today's conference, Professor Dr. Rajkumar Mittal, Vice Chancellor, Bansilal University, Bhiwani. Professor Manju Jaidekaji, Professor of English, SRM University, Delhi NCR Sonipat. Dr. Himanshu Parmar, Chairperson, Department of English, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. Professor Dr. Ashok Chaudhary, Principal, Markanda National College, Shahabad. In the valedictory session, chief guest, Professor Dr. Randeep Rana, MD University, Rohtak, research scholars, faculty members, and my dear friends. I welcome you all in DGHE approved one-day online national conference on a very important topic, Indian writing in English. You all accepted our invitation and spared time from your busy schedule. We again welcome you all. I also welcome General Secretary of the college governing body, Shri Ellen Miglani ji, and other office bearers of the college governing body who are always committed for the betterment and growth of the institution. Under the able guidance of the management, the college is progressing leaps and bounds and has established itself as one of the leading institutions of higher education in Haryana. It is a matter of immense pleasure for me that Department of English of our college has taken this initiative on a very relevant topic. I congratulate Dr. Neelam Dahiya, convener of the conference, Dr. Nidhi, Dr. Madhu Sharma, Dr. Vinay Vadwa, Dr. Swati Punia, Dr. Neha, Professor Sonal, Professor Rekha, and other members of the organizing team, especially IT team of the college, Professor Ashwini, Professor Neetu Bhatia, and others for their untiring efforts to make this conference a success. More than 170 substract speaks about the success of the conference and the hard work of the organizing team. I think they need clapping for that. They have done a wonderful job. IB College Panipat started its journey in 1967 with the sole aim of providing value-based education. Since then, the college is progressing by leaps and bounds with untiring efforts and continuous efforts of our dedicated management. It is a matter of pride for the entire family of this college that the services rendered to the society by this great institution since its inception have been recognized at many levels. Many leaders, philosophers, academicians, vice chancellors, and bureaucrats have glorified the college with their benign presence on many occasions. In this list, inclusion of the name of Dr. R.K. Mittal, Vice Chancellor, Chaudhary Bansilal University, Haryana, has honored the whole family of the college. Sir, in addition to the undergraduate courses, the college in the arts, commerce, and science, the college is providing education in the postgraduate courses in Hindi, mathematics, English, commerce, and political science. Keeping in pace with the present times, the college has been successfully running many job-oriented courses like BCA, BBA, BSc, BSc Biotech. To make undergraduate degree more useful, many certificate courses like Python, fashion designing, low-cost nutritious cuisines, cooking and baking, digital marketing, cosmetology, beauty and wellness, stitching and embroidery, Mehndi design essentials, and robotics are also offered to the students in our college. The ever-increasing number of positions of merit in the university secured by the students and the distinctions won in the field of sports, cultural, and co-curricular activities are the living testimony of the progressive graph of the college. The whole staff of the college deserves credits for such kind of achievements. Sir, every effort is being made for providing the best facilities to the students. Lush green campus, wide open and airy rooms, well-equipped labs, huge library, audio-video seminar halls, smart classrooms, YouTube channels of the college, modern gymnasiums, very effective placement cell, incubation center, dynamic website, skill development center in the college are the biggest assets of the institution for the students. Literature broadens our horizon, improves communication skills, and enables us to gain a better understanding of the perspectives of the other people. When it comes to Indian English literature, it deals with a wide range of themes and has attained an independent status in the sphere of literature. The famous writers like Rabindranath Tagore, Raja Rao, Mulk Raj Anand worked on a number of areas like religion, patriotism, love for nature, and also on the life and conditions of contemporary people of India. They use local dialects in the writings and a large number of words from other Indian languages. Besides this, there are a lot of female writers in English like Anita Desai, Sarojini Naidu, Arundhati Roy, Chitra Banerjee, and many more till now who have highlighted issues like nationalism, freedom struggle, etc. Indian writings in English not only provides an opportunity to take a deep dive in Indian society and culture, but also assists in popularizing our culture to different places and growth of India as a country around the world. The need at present is to find out how Indian English literature is a significant source of insight and inspiration for the generations to come, and how it will make them well versed with our rich culture. Moreover, there is a need to focus on the changing trends in Indian writings in English these days. The present conference is an attempt to bring together the people from different parts of the country so that they may exchange their ideas freely and reveal the lesser known facts related to the Indian English literature. Not only this, it will provide a platform to the experts, academicians, researchers, and students to discuss the challenges and the changing trends in English writings. On behalf of IBPG College Panipat, I thank all the delegates for sparing their precious time to grace the occasion, and all the delegates, scholars for their enthusiastic participation in the conference. Wishing you all a profound learning experience. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. On behalf of IBPG College Panipat, I wholeheartedly welcome Professor Rajkumar Mittal, worthy chief guest of inaugural session of today's national level online conference. Professor R.K. Mittal, Vice Chancellor Chaudhry Bansilal University, Bhiwani, is the most dynamic and vibrant personality. His educational qualifications are PhD, MPhil, MA Economics, and MBA. He has already had more than 35 years of experience in teaching, research, and academic administration in prestigious institutions of higher learning. His passion for teaching and research is reflected in his publications. He has published 120 research papers in various national and international journals. He has published 6 books, supervised 21 research scholars, of which 18 have been awarded PhD degree. He has guided over 150 MBA students for their major research projects. He has delivered more than 100 lectures in various academic events organized by different universities and colleges, and organized more than 50 major conferences, seminars, workshops, and FDPs. He has received many scholarships and awards, including Outstanding Achievement Award by Haryana Maitri Sangh in 2020, Best Teacher Award by GGSIPU New Delhi in 2002, Lifetime Achievement Award by IEEE UP Chapter, and many more. He has visited many foreign countries, including USA, Japan, Bangladesh for academic purposes, and has completed 4 major consultancy and research projects, and one is under progress. He has been associated with various academic institutions such as JNU, KUK, CDLU Sirsa, Vishwakarma Skill University Palwal, NAC, NBA, AIMA, etc. Apart from this, he has also graced the prestigious positions of Vice Chancellor, Maharishi Valmiki Sanskrit University, Kathal, Tirthankar Mahavir University, Muradabad, Director Development and Coordinator, NAC and UGC, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi. The list of his achievements is endless, and the professional journey of Professor Mittal cannot be restricted to a few paragraphs. Sir, we are proud to have you with us today. I request you, sir, to share your valuable insights with the audience. Sir, please.
Dr. R.K. Mittal was supposed to join us, but due to some emergent meeting, he is right now not able to join, but will be joining us some few moments later. तो I will request कि जो हमारा प्रोग्राम है वो आगे कंटिन्यू कर लें. जैसे मित्तल साहब ज्वाइन करेंगे हम उनको ज्वाइन करवा लेंगे. थैंक यू.
As we know, release of the souvenir is another important part of the conference. It is the very soul of the program. As a remembrance of this event, we have come out with a souvenir. It's time to release the souvenir. I request all the dignitaries to release the souvenir of the conference. Please put your hands together as the souvenir is to be released. Thank you all. Now I invite Professor Sonia to address the gathering.
जी, गीता जयंती से रिलेटेड कुछ श्लोक्स हैं. धर्म क्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्र, सभी खड़े जाइए. धर्म क्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे संवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किम् अकुर्वत् सञ्जय अनन्या चिन्तयन्तः मां ये जना पर्युपास्यते तेषां नित्यवियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्. यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र शीर्विजयो भूति ध्रुवा नितरीमतिर्ममः.
Thank you all. We are honored to have Professor Manju Jaidka as keynote speaker of the conference. But before moving ahead, let me give her brief introduction. Professor Manju Jaidka is presently working as Director of Humanities at SRM University, Delhi NCR, Sonipat. She has served as Professor and Chairperson of the Department of English at Punjab University, Chandigarh. and also as Senior Professor and Dean at Shulini University, Solan, Himachal Pradesh. She is recipient of several national and international fellowships and awards, including Fulbright and Rockefeller. She has held assignments at several top universities internationally. Professor Jedka is a passionate researcher who is very dynamic in pursuit of knowledge. She has published more than 25 books in her entire career. As a creative writer, she has written 2 collections of poems, a play, 4 novels, and a collection of short stories. Her non-fiction publication titled The Next Milestone, published in 2017, was commissioned by WHO. Professor Jedka has curated and held several full-fledged literature festivals in Chandigarh and Himachal. She founded the Academic Society Melo in 1997, and as the chief functionary of the society, she has organized 23 international conferences. In addition to this, she has held the post of Executive Director of the International American Studies Association and serves on the advisory board of several international organizations. Ma'am, it is a privilege to have you with us today in this national online conference. With these words, I request you to deliver the keynote address. Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that generous introduction. And it's a pleasure to be with you all again. I remember 4 years ago visiting your campus, and that was a very pleasant visit. I have fond memories of that occasion. But tell me, is the audio all right? Do you have any problems with the audio?
Ma'am, your voice is crystal clear.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice. Yeah. We're talking about Indian writing in English, and I would like to begin by sharing something with you, which I just created yesterday. I'll explain what it is. I'm trying to share. Do I have the right to share?
Pardon, ma'am?
Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Believe it or not, this is Mulk Rajahan. Rajarao.
Ma'am, picture. Ma'am, your voice, I think there is a problem in network from your side. Jedka, ma'am?
Can you hear the music? Can you hear the music?
Ma'am, pictures are blurred and the music is not working at present. Ma'am, please rejoin the meeting.
I'm so sorry. Could you see the screen? Ma'am, could you see the screen? Could you hear the music?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. You could not?
Not, ma'am.
Tell me if it works.
Again, there is a problem, and the voice is sound is not there. Jayadka ma'am, you can send your PPTs to us. We will play it from our side. Ma'am, it's not clear. Sound is not clear.
Sorry.
You can.
What is the problem, ma'am? What is the problem, ma'am?
Ma'am, when you speak, everything is all right, but when you play the PPT, then there is a problem.
Okay, you could not see the video?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, you can send your PPT to us. We will play from here. Mail.
Okay, let me try.
Mhm.
Let me try. Give me just 1 minute and I'll send it across to you.
Definitely, ma'am, you can take time.
Because I did prepare it thinking that, you know, you would really like it. Let me see if it goes. No, it is too big, it will not go.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, you can present orally.
Yes, and
You can deliver your keynote address
you see,
without
this was,
PPTs.
this was not a PPT, this was a video.
Okay,
This
ma'am.
was, which I wanted to show you. I have a PPT also, and yesterday when we were trying out, it worked pretty fine. So let me open up the PPT now. Yes, can you see it?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Okay, and is the sound also clear?
Ma'am, your sound is clear.
All right. So we are going.
Ma'am, please continue.
I'm a little disappointed with it, but never mind. I have this PPT, and if it is okay, it's fine. If it's not okay, just let me know, right? And
Okay, ma'am.
I hope the sound is fine.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So once again, thank you very much, all of you, the organizers and all these young ladies who have been putting in so much of effort. I'm glad that you chose this topic because it's been very close to my heart lately. And the video that I was showing you is actually about the volume that we have recently brought out. It is an encyclopedia that has come out just a couple of months ago. In fact, the date of publication is 2024. And that is the Routledge Encyclopedia of Indian Writing in English. So we have, in that, we have about 350 entries, authors, and also some works. The contributors are about 150 altogether from all across the world. So you can imagine it has been a very big project. It took us about 1 year, it took us about 2 years to complete. The project came to me and I started working on it, but then I realized it was too big. I would not be able to do it myself. So I requested Professor Tejnath Bharat to help out. So he joined in, and then we had an editorial board also. So all of us put together, it took us 2 years and finally the book has come out and it has been appreciated by one and all. I hope at some point you will think of buying it for your college library too. All right, so we come to the subject of discussion today, that is Indian writing in English. It is a very broad subject, it is a burgeoning subject, and we find that every day we have a lot of new writers coming on to the scene. Let's begin with the term Indian English literature. What do we mean by Indian? Is there anybody who would like to venture some explanation for what Indian would mean? Unfortunately, I cannot see your responses. I cannot see your hand being raised. I can only hear you. So if anybody would like to answer what Indian means, please unmute yourself and speak up. Any volunteers? Indian English literature. Well, if there aren't, or if it's not possible to have a dialogue now, why don't you just make notes of all the questions that I ask you, and towards the end, perhaps we can take them up in a discussion. Now, when we talk of Indian English literature, there are various connotations, there are various ideas that come to our mind. Indian literature, are we talking about the literature that we have related to India, Indian life, lifestyles, people, conversations, work, and so on? Are we talking about that? What are we talking about when we refer to Indian English literature? So the meaning and scope of the term is varied, and it is ever expanding. It is ever expanding because our society is growing, India is growing, India is progressing. So there will be more and more writers coming in, there will be more and more writing that is being done, there will be readers, and it will expand. Let me come to the second word here, Indian English literature, English literature. By English literature, do we mean literature related to England? Well, not really. We are talking about the language that we have got, the language that we have appropriated from the people who colonized us for so long. So we have appropriated their language. It is no longer their language. English is no longer a language that belongs to the people of England. It is a language that has crossed borders internationally, and we use it like our own language. It is one of the many languages that flourishes in India. Right. So when we talk about Indian English literature, we are referring to that body of literature which is written by Indian authors in a language that is not native, a language that has come down to us from a foreign source, but a language that we have appropriated. Now, the next question that may come to your mind is, why are we using English? And this is a question that is often raised, particularly by those who want to show their nationalism, that they are more nationalistic than other people. Now, this is a very narrow way of displaying your nationalism. Just because you are using the English language, just because you are promoting the English language, does not mean that you're being anti-national, does not mean that you don't have that national fervor in you. As I said, and I'm repeating, that English is one of the languages that people in India use. And why should they not? Because from every language, we gain a lot, we learn a lot, and at the same time, we contribute a lot. Moving on. When we talk about Indian English literature, how is it Indian? How is it Indian English? Is it Indian in language or in sensibility? Or perhaps it is Indian in both. For instance, you're using a language which you have learned from the British. You're using the Queen's English as it came down to us, but you're using it language that we use, the English language that we use, is different from the English language that is used in other countries. Yes, broadly, more or less, they are the same, but some cultural variants come into the language, and we get to know that the way we speak is slightly different from the way the Chinese speak English, the Japanese, or people from Europe, from America, and so on. The words that we use, the emotions that we put into them, and the cultural context, they are very different. Further, we use the language to express our own sensibility, which is very different from the sensibility of the people of other countries. I'm not saying this is good and that is bad or vice versa. What I'm saying is it is just different. It is different because we are located in a different geographical region, in a different culture, amongst different people, so it has to be different. Coming back to the term Indian English literature. Yes, we are talking about Indian English literature. We are talking about the literature written by Indian writers in the English language, but it is not limited to India alone. It is a literature that cuts across chronotopic borders, as we call it. Chronotopic, that means time and space. So literature written today in English will be read even a century later, or perhaps later, just as we read what is written by Shakespeare 400 years after he wrote his plays. Similarly, our literature will also cut across time and space and continue to be read. It will be part of the global scene, part of world literature. And in some universities, literature from India is included with world literatures. All right, we come. If there's any question, please speak up, because I cannot see the chat and I cannot see what interventions are being made. So you'll need to speak up, or you just keep your observations for the end. With that, we come to the next point. Who are the writers we generally refer to when we speak of Indian writing in English? We begin, and as students of literature, we are familiar with certain names. We are familiar with the big three. The big three who started writing in English and made a name for themselves. I'm referring to Mulk Rajanand, Raja Rao, and R.K. Narayan. So these three, we owe them a lot. However, since then, we have gone a long way. There has been a second generation and a third generation. Roughly, if we started about, at the time of independence, 75 years. 75 years means roughly 3 generations. So there have been at least 3 generations of writers in English who have been contributing to literature. So have diasporic writers. We have diasporic writers. Excuse me, I cannot continue if there is conversation going on. Either you mute yourself or I mute myself. Right. So we have diasporic writers too, and everyone is talking about diasporic writers, writers who moved from India to other places, who relocated them in other geographical spaces and continue to write because they had left their culture behind, but they had taken with them the sensibility that belonged to that culture. So in a way, they are Janus-faced. Janus-faced means, like the Greek god Janus with two faces, one looking before and one looking after. Or you can say a very popular motif is the Trishanku motif, and that comes straight from a Ramayana. You have Trishanku who is suspended between three worlds, the earth, the heavens, and the sky in between. So he's suspended somewhere in between. The diasporic writer, that means the people from India who crossed the Kalapani, who crossed over to other countries, but they had this nostalgia, this feeling of regret that they had left behind. They continue to talk about the world left behind. They continue to struggle with the new world that they have come to, and out of their struggle, they create their works, they create their novels, they create their poetry. Why are they important? They are important because they take our language, the Indian English language, our cultures, our traditions, our sensibilities to other places. They make the world aware of what we are in India, of the values that we have, and so on. Now, the subjects and the themes of our writers, the writers who practice Indian writing in English, what are the subjects and the themes? If you look at them carefully, you find that their stories are rooted in Indian culture. When you look at Mulkraj Anand and R.K. Narayan, for instance, or Raja Rao, you find that their tales are deeply embedded in the cultural context of India. They make use of myths and motifs derived from the Indian tradition, legends which they pick up from the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, from the Purans, from the Vedas, and so on, from the epics. They write about historical characters, historical episodes, and they use certain archetypes that we are familiar with. When I use the word like archetypes, I presume you are familiar with this word, with this term, because Northrop Frye has talked so much about archetypes, the archetypes of literature. And I think in all master's courses, they have something in one of the papers, perhaps the critical theory paper, which talks about the archetypes of literature. There are certain archetypes, there are certain motifs, there are certain myths that emerge again and again in literature. We can discuss this more if we have the time, but I'm sure you would agree with me for now. Now, when we look at the tradition down the ages, we find that all the literature that we have has its roots in the oral tradition. The oral tradition, which in the West, we had the wandering minstrel. In India, we have that singer who went from place to place, singing songs, carrying stories, and so on. We have the Picaro in the West, the Picaro, the rogue or the trickster. In India, we have the Behrupia who goes from place to place. He plays tricks on people. He tells them stories and so on. And we have the Kathakar, the Dastan Goi. All these terms are coming back to us now. And in literature festivals, we often find people who are engaged in Dastan Goi, in narrating stories taken from the oral tradition, narrating stories without any script. So they narrate it in such a way that you feel that they're acting it out. Sometimes it's a team, sometimes it's a solo, but the performance is always amazing. So we have the Katha tradition, we have the Jataka tradition, and from there, most of our literature springs. You are also familiar with the Panchtantra. Now you will say the Panchtantra was not written in English, but why am I referring to it? However, even though it was not written in English, the fact remains that the Panchtantra has influenced a lot of our narratives. The narrative tradition that we have is influenced by these classics that we often dismiss as children's literature. Now, a little bit about the Panchtantra is given to you in the slide that you have. It dates back to 570 AD, long time ago, yes. And it was compiled, these were all oral stories. They were compiled by Vishnu Sharma, divided into 5 chapters or tantras. And they owe a lot to talk stories, to the oral tradition, to tales from folklore, myths, and legends. So we have the Panchtantra, and the stories of the Panchtantra percolate down the ages, and they are found in different ways, even in contemporary writing. So if you want to do research or something like that, you can always see, you can always study the influence of classical literature on contemporary literature. We also have a text which is not given the importance that it should have, and that is the Katha Sarit Sagar. And what is the Katha Sarit Sagar? I wonder if you're familiar with it. You will say that you are not familiar with it. But I will tell you that yes, you are familiar with it, even though you don't know that the stories that you have enjoyed, some of the stories that you've enjoyed, a cycle of stories in particular, is taken from the Katha Sarit Sagar. Which one is that? That is the Betal Pachisi, Vikram and Betal stories. They are taken from the Katha Sarit Sagar. Now, the Katha Sarit Sagar has a certain narrative structure. Let's take the outermost structure, for instance. The outermost structure begins with Lord Shiva and Parvati. Lord Shiva and Parvati, and Lord Shiva is narrating a story to Parvati. She's very fond of hearing stories. She says, tell me a story which nobody has heard before. So he narrates the story of, he narrates certain stories to her. This is a new story, I haven't heard it before, so she's in a very good mood. But there is a god called Pushpadant, and Pushpadant, he is listening to the stories, and there is this Malyavan, and they are listening to the stories, and the